a small mama shop, but you start organizing it, as did McDonald's, as did Ketchup. Take over America, then you take over the world. And now Heinz means tomato. As much McDonald's is America and Coca-Cola is America. But mind you, these were humble beginnings of very humble young people like you who started a business, but with a very honest intention to serve the bottom of the pyramid. Like most of these companies were organized to serve the bottom of the pyramid, and then they graduated up to become world leaders. And that is what I would call stage 3, the market-driven globalization. Stage 4 is more skill and scale. Now, look, if I have to manufacture a car, I have to go for mass production. I have to manufacture 200,000 cars. My market would only take 30,000, so which means I have to export 70,000. That's the Henry Ford era. Mass production, huge plants, huge factories, scale, scope. So we have to serve the world so that I can take advantage of scale. And now what you guys are living through, which is the stage 5, is globalization, the digitization of the world. Right now, you may have a great product, but if someone in Vietnam develops a product which is 10 cents cheaper, he's on the net. He will buy the product from Vietnam, not from you. So digitization has made competition extremely instant. Your life cycle of your any idea will be very short-lived unless you innovate. So this is how we have gone through the globalization. And I'm making a very important point here, that there's a new renaissance happening, which I'm calling empowerment-based renaissance. How, if you have an idea, how you can share and network the idea and empower others to develop the idea. A new type of renaissance is going to happen. Because the previous renaissance was individually focused renaissance. Leonardo da Vinci's of the world, Isaac Newton's of the world, centered around personal, not glorification, but enlightenment. Now, the enlightenment process has to be a network community of enlightenment, where the knowledge sharing is taken very, very important. Am I with you? Yes. Now, as I mentioned earlier.
So just if you want to go back, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Go back to the previous slide.
How do you go back?
The previous just come to the
when you said empowerment, new renaissance is based on empowerment. One word that came to my mind, you think is a good example, like Google, for example, you think there's a kind of
Google is a very good example. Because if you look at Google versus Microsoft, Microsoft is Windows closed system, you buy Windows on that, you develop a program. Google is open system. And you give, it celebrates Vedic philosophy.
Yeah.
Knowledge expands as you give, which we have said in the Vedas 5,000, 3,000 years ago. The problem with young kids here, myself included, that we are forgetting our own philosophy. One request I have for you, to start studying the Vedic philosophy once again. Really, start studying and then see how does it apply. And you'll be surprised. It applies more now, perhaps, 2,000 years ago. We'll come back to that. Absolutely. Very good point. Thank you. So now, as I was talking about globalization, each stage of globalization was obviously impacted by different S-curves. By S-curve, I mean technology curves, which fundamentally changed the shape of the world. The first S-curve, which is the stage 2, resource-driven globalization, was because of the steam engine. Bringing James Watt realized the power of steam. One young guy, he was only 19 years old, younger than most of you. Are you guys, anyone younger than 19? James was 19 years old when he realized the power of steam. And that power of steam led to the development of the steam engine. As steam engine developed, that led to the development of the railways. That led to the development of the textile mills, which run on steam. That led to the development of shipping lines that run on steam. Steam became a major source of power and a major source of economic development. A major development which took place in Europe, which is called the Industrial Revolution, led by steam, largely centered around England, and then spread around Europe, and then moved to China, East Asia. The next big revolution was stage 2 because of internal combustion engine, where we moved from steam to power the hydrocarbon burning. And that led to the mass motorization of the cars, the jet engine, the airplane, etc., etc. And that's the time that America came into a major force in the world. In the previous S-curve, it was largely Europe, particularly United Kingdom. The next S-curve, it was the American S-curve. The third S-curve, as you see, which I call the convergence engine, is the convergence of the 4 C's: computation, communication, commerce, and culture, which is also kind of maturing as we go. But Google to the world, as Jonathan was talking about, is again recreating a new S-curve, which we talk separately. But that is the stage 5 digitization. How information and knowledge is changing the way we live, the way we think, the way we connect with each other, the way we innovate, and the rest of all the different iterations that you can think of. Okay?
Yes. One thing, if you go back to the slide.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, in this you're talking about the first and the second, it's mostly the energy requirement which mostly get into the development of the S-curve. Do you think that what we are talking about today of the renewable energy or the desert tech project as it is currently being done, is that going to change the world, or are we talking about the renewable from non-renewable energy sources?
That could very well be. Yeah, I'll come to that. Because I'm now talking about the past. So what will the future S-curve really depend upon the young people in this room. Because I could see a possibility that we do not need the car. Why do we need the car? Why do you have to? So, what it is, I could see a possibility of renewable energy theory is still true that this room, instead of the way it's designed, to still be cool, but most of the energy, instead of this one coming down, coming from outside, or protect the room from outside. So there will be new ways of protecting the space and using the light outside. So what it could be, I really cannot predict, but what we could definitely say that the US, which is eco-friendly, hydrocarbon independent, but what it would be, it really depends upon how we do it. But we'll come to that in just for Now that's where I'm coming to actually. Now to define the next S-curve, I think what we have to understand, what right now are the major forces in action? What are the forces really at work today? And I'm saying there are 3 forces on the supply side, which is, I would say, the technology side, and 3 fundamental forces on the demand side. But it never happened that, that there are 6 very powerful forces which are at work at the same time. And each force is more powerful than the power of a steam engine, or the power of the jet engine, or the power of the convergence engine. But they're all acting at the same time. So you could think of the nature of transformation that you guys are doing. This life is very different. It never happened before in history. So you're living through a very interesting time. If someone has write a book after 1,000 years, they would perhaps describe the early part of the 21st century as a period of real reawakening, a period of rediscovery. And it's up to you to take on these challenges so that your names can appear in the history books. And that's how you have to look at the opportunities. Am I clear?
Yes.
Now let's quickly go through these forces. The first one is what you talked about in the convergence effect of the information technologies, which is, this product today does everything. I mean, I don't feel disconnected to my office at all. And I'm connected with about 20 different places.